glad you're with us. 2 cents, 2 minutes. When you call something a war long enough and you equip one side with military-grade weaponry, it doesn't take long before battle lines get drawn and it becomes us versus them. But law enforcement hires young, competitive men who cut their teeth playing Call of Duty, train them to be assertive, hand them militarized battle equipment, and authorize them to use deadly force, constantly reinforcing that warrior mindset when they call it the war on drugs. These young men interpret that as the war on drug users because you don't fire assault rifles into a bale of weed or a kilo of coke to destroy it. The government then awards JAG grant competitive funding to keep department heads creating competition between officers to keep them focused heavily on this war on drugs. The officers take advantage of people that are already in traffic stops and intimidated by lying and tricking them into a search where they seek to find ways to qualify these items as illegal so they can push their careers forward. Now, this has caused incarceration rates to skyrocket since the 1980s. And now that Americans are finally waking up and gaining the knowledge that they need to protect themselves and use their rights, you see people suing departments for huge settlements. And law enforcement can see the revolution rising, so they now voice concerns that both citizens and police foster us versus them mentality. Well, of course they do. After 2 million of us have been imprisoned since the 1980s in a system of us versus them, it's going to be hard for Americans to shake hands and play nice now. For this to get better, several things need to happen. Law enforcement needs to quit turning a blind eye to misconduct and weed out bad apples when the officers become a problem. They also need to begin promoting officers that have a mentality for protect and serve. Plus, they've got to get away from these Fourth Amendment rights violations of search and seizure. Our government needs to give us a drug policy more like Portugal, where nonviolent drug possession charges are not met with such cruel and unusual punishment like we see today. And marijuana should be 100% legal for adults to do whatever they want, and the old charges should be dropped and the captives go free. Now, when Congress and law enforcement can agree to the above, then and only then do we need the American spirit and the grace of God to help us let go of baggage so we can tear down the walls that divide us versus them. Thanks for joining us. 2 cents, 2 minutes.